Central Bank of Nigeria's injection of liquidity into the forex market, as at the third quarter of the year, it injected $4.37 billion into the market in the third quarter of the year as part of efforts to ensure the stability of the Naira. In its third quarter economic report, the Apex Bank says that through its periodic interventions in the forex market, it continues to boost the supply side of the market, as COVID-19 crisis also weakened the private sector supply chain segment of the market. According to the report, foreign exchange cash sales to bureau de change operators was pegged at $330 million in the review period. The CBN also says that it sustained interventions in the forex market and resumed forex cash sales to the BDC operators to boost liquidity and ease demand pressure. Well, joining me now live in our Lagos studio to discuss this development and much more, I have with me finance analyst Adeola Ojo. Good to have you in the breakfast show today.
Good morning, sir.
Happy New Year once again. Now, based on the fact that we had issues of forex scarcity looming in terms of what we saw transactions last year, now we have the second wave of the COVID-19 also hitting economies globally. We are not seeing so much of a demand for forex as ordinarily if all economies were open to economic activities. Now, the pressure is not necessarily there, but do you think the CBN can continue to sustain this liquidity injection it makes in the market in the long term?
No. As it is now, we've discussed this the last time. There had been erosion of the forex, the foreign exchange, what is the name now? Stockpile, the one that held by the CBN, continuously over a period. The last time it was 36 billion. Then later it came to 35.7.
External reserves.
Yes, external reserve. Then in December, it actually came down to 34 billion. And by the end of the year, I expect only for the injection of about $552 million, that was what actually lifted it up a bit. So it's still hovering around 35 billion. I think in the long run, it is not sustainable. And we must look for alternative sources.
And in terms of looking for alternative sources of stabilizing the Naira, what do you think is available for the CBN to take up?
Basically, I would say it's either CBN is going to leave financing and the I&E markets, the window that is investors and exporters window, or they are going to leave financing the bureau de change. Because basically, as it is now, it's either they are going to do the valuation or they are going to allow the market forces to operate as it is.
And taking cues from last year as well, there was a whole lot of noise from speculators. Some agree that, well, we cannot silence speculators to the barest minimum, but we can just manage to have them in the back door, not necessarily having the noise overwhelm the performance we see in the market or cause chaos in the market. How do you think things will play out this time around, and what sort of measures do you also expect in terms of the interface between the CBN bureau de change operators and then the speculators?
Basically, I think the way and manner CBN is operating or they are taking decisions, they are actually good. But I think they should allow lag, because when you make a decision or a rule or a law, or you actually put some measures in place, you should allow, because there is a lag between the time those instructions are put in place and the time the effects begin to take place. At the beginning of December, there was a rule, a law from CBN that this and this and this and this, especially about remittances, should be taken into place. Then, towards the end of the year, we saw that there was a depreciation in I&E window as a result of CBN intervention. So basically, I would say they should allow the whatever thing, rule or law they put in place to actually take its effect. Then see how it works within 1 or 2 months before you take a decision. Because it is on your body language that speculators work on. What is where are you going? What is the way and manner the way and manner you are thinking, or your body language? Actually, if they say, okay, oh, it seems as if federal government is about to devalue the Naira, then the speculators come into being. If they know you are not going to devalue, like Buhari said at the beginning, I will not, then indeed it takes away speculators, because they know that even if they are going to keep the money, there's nothing that's going to come to them.
Do you think further devaluation of the Naira is the way to go?
No, not at all.
Okay, now let's talk about strengthening the Naira now. At this point in time where we are seeing a whole lot of pressure on the Naira to sustain its performance against other global currencies, the biggest question is just that free fall we earlier saw last year. But now, how do you think we can also sustain things? Some analysts say, well, it's time to improve along our production chain, improve our base of export, and also look for alternative revenue generation mechanisms that would gain us forex. Then we can slowly see the Naira bounce back. But until those actions are taken, nothing will happen.
Sure. Those three things you actually mentioned, they are correct, and they are things that is the way we should go.
Okay, now, and then what's your forecast as well for the rest of the year? Looking at the first 2 quarters of the year, we expect a lull in the market, but by the second half of the year, we are expecting to see the economy bounce back. That pressure for demand for forex is going to come back once again. Do you think we are already laying down the platform to ensure that we have the Naira trade favorably, and then we also see the demand for forex also available, so that we don't have this concern of scarcity come once again and the speculators take over the market?
The challenge of the last quarter, especially the one we witnessed last week, was as a result of people who want to repatriate their fund. Remember, it's the end of the year. I want to balance my account. I want to do everything. They've been trying as much as possible to do that earlier. And they only used the opportunity of the end of the year to actually do that. Was why the pressure was on the Naira. But thank God, yesterday, the Naira bounced back. And I expect that to happen again today with CBN intervention. So going forward, looking at the year in view, I actually expect, if there are no other external factors, that there will be appreciation in the dollar rate. The economy actually will bounce because economic activities are going to take place, though there are some challenges now with some of the countries where there are lockdowns. But we have come to learn how to manage COVID-19. So looking forward into year 2019, even from first quarter, we are going to see some appreciable responses. Even we are not going to wait up, we are not going to wait for third quarter. From first quarter, there will be appreciable changes even in the economy. And
also unification of the exchange rates as well. This is one of the moves solved by the CBN, but implementation is key. We have to sustain these efforts.
To do that, actually, we actually been saying that by mouth. I believe we should just allow the market forces to actually operate, and because for us to be able to unify, there are so many things we need to consider. There are so many things we need to put in place. And if we're going to do it that way, we're going to actually affect, either we're going to cause inflation or we're going to cause a scarcity. So what I just want us is just to allow market forces to operate within this segment, especially within the first half of the year, and see how the whole thing operates.
And wrapping up our conversation now with the 2021 budget that we see also signed into law now at this point in time, the key assumption we have there is that we'll see the Naira pegged at about 379 Naira to the dollar. How favorable do you think this would be in terms of the shocks we might expect in terms of the COVID-19? Yes, we are all optimistic we'll see a bounce back on the hopes of vaccines coming into bear, but anything can happen. Do you think that's a favorable tag or peg for the Naira?
Actually, I think as it is even way below the official exchange rate. So I think it is not a foolhardy, it is reality, it is a thing that we can actually work with.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much for your time on the Breakfast Show today.
I appreciate it so much.
It's been a pleasure speaking with you.